Today I'm going to show you how in Cricut Design Space to set up your image to cut larger than a mat, and we're going to be actually doing this for a stencil. So let's upload the image that we have. So I'm going to go to upload. I'm going to go to upload image, click on browse, and let's go and find our image that we're going to use. And today we're going to go Sweet Land of Liberty Round. Okay, we need the SVG file. So here's our file, and everything looks good there. I'm going to click on upload, and then I'm going to click on my recent upload, and then insert image. Okay, so here we have the image that we're working with, and it actually came into the Design Space as 18 by 18, which is good because that is actually the size of the circle that I'm going to be working with. Now, if your circle is larger or smaller, adjust your size accordingly to what you need. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually ungroup my image. So I'm going to do an ungroup, and I don't need or want to worry about the Sweet Land of Liberty, so I'm just going to hide those right now. Okay, and for this particular case, if I look at this, the star portion for me is actually 10 by 9.647, so that's going to fit perfectly on a 12 by 12 mat, so I don't have to worry about that either. So we're going to hide that one. So now we're just left with the stripes that we're going to be cutting out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here into shapes, and I'm going to do my circle. And you can see my circle is in here. And I'm actually going to make this a 19 by 19 inch circle. Okay. And I'm going to send it to the back. And I'm also going to change the color to something that's a little easier to see. We'll do brown. Reminds us of our wood pattern. So I'm just going to select these two pieces. And I'm going to come to alignment, and I'm just going to center so it centers the two out. Now I'm going to show you two ways to do this particular design. Okay, so the first way to do this one is we're actually going to come in here, we're going to highlight these two, and I'm going to do a slice. And if I pull away, whoops, I really want to pull away my brown. I'm going to pull away my brown. And then I can just get rid of my red stripes. Okay, so I'm left with my brown image. And so of course you can see up here I have my yellow triangle. It's telling me right off the bat that it is larger than my mat and I need to make adjustments to it. Okay, so not a problem. I'm going to show you the first way of doing this. I'm actually going to come in here and grab and make a square. And I'm going to set this square up to be 11.5 by 19. And the reason why I'm saying 19 is that's the size of the circle we just made. Oops, forgot to unlock it. And I should have did the other way, so we'll just rotate it. So here's our rectangle that we have. Okay, it's good to go. Good thing. I'm going to actually duplicate that. So I have two of them, and I'm just going to push that one off to the side. Okay, so I'm going to grab both of these. I'm going to send them to the back. And the first way I want to show you how to do that I'm going to do this is I'm actually going to size up the circle because these lines are the stripes are over here. I'm not going to do registration marks. I'll show you that this on the second option. So for the first option, all I really need to do is put the circle over the rectangle, and I want to make sure that this stripe is covered. So I'm going to do the bottom portion of it. I'm going to highlight my two items. Oops, before I do that, let's duplicate our circle. And we'll just push him over to the side. Again, we'll just select our two options and click on slice. And I'm going to highlight my two browns and delete those out And I'm going to delete this bottom part of the rectangle, and I'm left with this circle. So it is already, this one is set for me to go, and I have the bottom one. Now let's pull over the other circle, or the other two items we have. And this time, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to scoot this down, and I'm going to use this stripe right here. So this medium size where you can see my mouse is moving around. I'm going to use that one as my reference mark, okay? My registration mark, however you want to call it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take these and I'm going to line them up. Oops. Again, grab the wrong alignment one. Sorry about that. So I'm going to grab them again, and I'm going to just center, make sure they're centered horizontally, okay? And then I'm going to grab my two pieces, highlight them, and I'm going to do a slice. I'm going to grab that piece out, that top circle, and I'm going to just delete everything else. So here I have the top and the bottom, and when I put them over each other, you can see how we're going to set those up for an alignment. And so these are going to be perfect to be putting on our mats and for cutting and doing our stenciling. Okay, so then we just come over to and click on Make It. And you can actually, let me zoom out a little bit so you can see that better. And you can actually see how they're going to fit on the mat. Okay, now I'm going to point this out to you. You see how this extra piece right here is going to be kind of a waste of material for us? If I can tell what material I do. So I'm going to come back in here, and we're just going to slice it. So I'm going to grab my shape, I'm going to grab my square again, and I'm just going to pull it, and then I'm going to highlight these two pieces and do a slice. I'm going to pull that little guy away, highlight it, and delete it. So again, for doing our stenciling, you can see our two pieces line up. You can see where I will save this material because it'll be a waste of material and I don't need it. And we can go from there. If you feel that you want to cut this part away, you could too as well. That's a personal choice. And so I really need my stars and I need this bottom portion. So I come over to Make It. And so you can see here, we have the one mat with the that we'll cut our mask out of. And then you can see the other one actually just fits on the smaller 12 by 12 mat. And then of course our star is the 12 by 12. Okay? So let me save this off. And we'll just put in our patriotic. Okay. So I'm actually going to close this and put a new one out here. And I'm going to, once again, grab our Sweet Land of Liberty and insert the image. Again, I'm going to zoom out to make this easier to see. I'm going to ungroup. This time, I'm going to hide both of them. This time, we're going to use registration marks. Okay. So once again, I have my circle. I'm going to grab another circle. I'm going to set this circle up to be 19 inches by 19 inches. Okay. I'm going to send it to the back. I'm going to highlight both items, go to Align, hit center so it centers my item for me. Didn't look centered, but we'll just move it over. So now I'm going to take this, I'm going to highlight these two, and I'm going to slice it. Okay. I just want this back gray piece, and I'm going to delete the red one out. So I'm left with that. And I'm going to duplicate, or next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create my registration marks. And these don't need to be very big, and I'm just going to make them a 1 by 1 circle. And I'm actually going to change the color so we can see these better. So I'm going to use yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my registration mark in here, and I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to actually slide these out to the sides like this. I'm going to come up to my alignment, do a vertical, do a vertical alignment, and then I'm actually going to group them. And I'm actually going to weld them together. And the reason being is I want to be able to move these around and know that they're okay together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have those set like that. And so I can do my registration mark up here, down here, whichever, but I'm actually going to do them down here. And what I'm going to do at this point, actually I take that back, we'll do them up here. Oh, just a second, I have to decide where my dimensions are here. Actually, we have to do our registration marks down here. Sorry about that. I had to make sure that I could fit on the map. So I'm going to highlight, whoops. Okay, and we're going to need 2 sets of those. So again, I'm going to duplicate them. And then I'm going to grab them over here in my list on the right hand side. And I'm just going to do center, so that they're sitting on top of each other. I'm actually going to change my circle to be a different color right now, so let's make those red. And next thing we're going to do is, again, we're going to come in here and we're going to make our rectangle shape. Okay, so these are where the steps are very similar. So again, I'm going to do this 19 by 11 point, oops, unlock it again. Forgot to unlock it, made it too big. So we're going to come in here 19 by 11.5. Okay, so there's our rectangle. And again, we're going to duplicate that. Okay, we're going to put that off to the side. And we're going to take these 2 items and we're going to send it back. So now I'm going to grab everything here and I'm going to do alignment center. Okay. Take my registration marks out. So now I'm going to actually take my registration marks and my red circle and I'm going to slice it. Okay. And then we're going to delete out those 2 shapes. Once those are deleted, again, we're lined up on our map. We're going to highlight everything and we're going to do a slice. Oops. Before we do that, I need a copy of the red. Duplicate that, push it over there. So again, we're going to highlight these 2 and slice. And I want this piece right here. Everything else can be deleted. So you can see there is our one piece with our registration marks. Okay, we're going to grab the circle again. Sorry, I didn't need the duplicate of that one. And this time we're going to line them up. One of the things I probably should have done is move my registration marks up a little bit, but again, it'll be totally fine. I'm going to highlight these 2 and do a slice. And again, I just want this piece. Everything else can be highlighted and deleted. And the reason why we're okay here is because of the top shape of the circle. It's going to line up just fine. So that's how you can make your registration marks. And you want to make sure when you set those up that they will fit on the mat. So I was off just a little bit, but not a big deal. So that's how you can do it. So this is why I showed you two ways of doing it. One is so that in the future you know how to do it with the registration marks. And two, because of the way this design is, you can literally get away just using the rectangle that's built in here as your registration marks without adding in that extra step. And in this particular case, it will use a little bit more vinyl because we didn't need to do it this way. So I want to show you two different ways of doing the registration marks. Okay, so once you have everything cut, we're gonna go ahead and do our weeding and everything else like that. So again, it's just a matter of taking this, going to make it, and putting everything on our mat and cutting it out so you can see everything is lining up here. And that's how you do a larger than mat cutout.